Hey guys, how's it going? Glad to stop by. Tonight, I thought we'd try something cool, a little different for dinner. We're going to do a twice stuffed baked potato. I did these once before. I'm trying to remember what I put in them. They were really good. It was a shepherd's pie, twice baked potato. And I ran across this. It was the weirdest thing. I sat chicken out yesterday and it didn't get thawed in time, so we didn't use it. But I thought this morning, I was like, man, what are we going to do with this chicken that I had set out? And man, I could have put it back in the freezer. A little side note, if you thaw your chicken or beef from the freezer to the fridge and not to the counter and then to the fridge, you can put it back in the freezer. And that's a true fact. That's a health code gig. You don't want to put it on your counter and then refreeze it, because contrary to popular belief, freezing things doesn't kill bacteria. It just slows it way down. Some bacteria kills, but not many. But anyhow, so I had to stick it in the fridge. Well, then my phone alerts, and it's a recipe for a twice baked potato that's got chicken and cheddar in it. I thought, ooh, that sounds good, right? So I thought, I'll make it. The only thing I needed to do was go buy potatoes. As soon as I went and got the potatoes, it was game on. So anyhow, if you are new to my channel, it's your first video, welcome. Hope you get something out of this video. Check out some of the other ones. If you're returning or a new subscriber, thank you and welcome back. That being said, it's kind of straightforward. It is a little, not labor intensive, but time intensive. A whole lot in the oven, but get to watch TV while you do it or whatever, if you have chores. So let's get down to the counter and we're gonna get started with the potato portion of this. All right, hold on for me just 1 second. So, potatoes. Now, the original recipe called for 4. You needed 4 potatoes, you needed 2 chicken breasts. I went with 7 potatoes because I want leftovers. Plus, I mean, we have 6 people here to feed, so we need a little extra. But each half should pretty much give you a main meal, along with you can serve a salad with this, some asparagus, a vegetable on the side, something of that sort, or even a nice cream soup for that matter. But anyhow, potatoes. So the first thing we want to do with these potatoes is we're going to grab a fork and we're just going to poke some holes in them. We don't need like a bazillion holes, but we want some holes in them, and that way they can breathe, right? So I'll do 3 or 4 sets on each side of the potato. Plus, if you poke them through a bunch of times, but these being essentially a twice stuffed baked potato, you don't want it to fall apart. I mean, I don't think it will. Now, I know somebody's going to say, because there was a couple people that mentioned it in the big potato candy video that I did a long while back. These are russets. They are baker potatoes. They are light in color because I washed them. When I wash my vegetables, and some people, you can wash them how you wish. A lot of people will just take their vegetables and run it under the water and use their hands, right? I have a nylon brush that I use to scrub my vegetables down with because I want to make sure they're clean. Well, that takes a lot of the dirt off of here. I mean, but not all of the color, obviously. I mean, see how it's two-toned? That's because of the dirt that was on it that I scrubbed off. You know, so it does have some of its color left, and it doesn't, you know, change the flavor in any way. But I just wanted to throw that out there before somebody asked, you know, why, you know, they looked really, or said, wow, those look really light as russet potatoes. So I'm gonna get these holes in here and then we can move on. Okay, so we got our holes put in them, that way they can breathe and steam, which is what we're gonna do. In this container here, I've just got some veggie oil and I'm gonna put that on there. You can use olive oil also. You just want something that's going to hold a temperature of at least 400 degrees. I do have my oven preheated at 400 degrees. And you're asking yourself, Brian, why are you not putting it all over the potato? I'm going to. I'm just brushing it on the top here, and then that's why I have gloves on. And then I can take it and just go ahead and rub it all over. I don't want to saturate the, poor potato. I don't want it to be drowning in oil, but I do want enough on there that it helps crisp that skin up. All right, so we got that on there. You gotta take these gloves off real quick. What we're gonna do now is we're just gonna take some salt, put the salt on the top of the potato. Doesn't have to be perfect by any means. Such. I am only going to do one side. I'm old and I need to watch my salt intake. Plus, I don't eat a lot of salt, so we don't need a lot of salt. The only time we get a lot of salt is when the kids order out, or Chris orders out and I'm not here. But now I'm just adding a little pepper to them, right? So we just got salt, pepper. A little bit of vegetable oil. Like I said, you could use olive oil. I just didn't. I thought vegetable oil would suffice just fine. So now I'm going to put these in the oven at 400 degrees, right? And I'm sure everybody seems to have a little different way to bake their potatoes. But I want to truly bake these potatoes. I thought about giving them a head start in the microwave. And I thought about boiling them a little bit, but the problem with boiling with the skin on is the skin gets loose. So I'm going to do 400 degrees with these baked potatoes, and I'm going to tell you 45 minutes to an hour. I'm going to start at 50 minutes just because these potatoes are so big. They're going to take a little time to bake. And I don't know if this would be quite a summer dish for your oven if it's hot outside, but like today, it's cool out. It's in the low 40s. Today's a good day to kick the oven on. Won't make it too hot in the house. So when I come back, the potatoes may not be done yet, but we can at least get the chicken. Potatoes will be done. I'll go ahead and I've got 4 chicken breasts total that I baked in the oven. You could just as easily go buy a rotisserie chicken and debone it. And that would be the quick, easy method. But like I said, I had chicken breasts out, so I went ahead and baked them up. I just put some Italian seasoning on them. Why that sounded good, I have no idea. Because it's going to go with some cheddar cheese, Colby Jack, or something like that. But that sounded good in my head at any rate. So I just gotta let those cool, and I'll get that shredded up. I'll show you how to shred it though. And then we can start putting stuff together. All right, hold on for me 1 second. All right, so here's where we stand. Potatoes are done. They're out of the oven and cooling. They're not horribly hot at the moment because they've been sitting out for a minute, but see how I can squeeze that? That tells me they're done on the inside. That's what we want. And our skin is kind of crunchy from the oil, and we want that too. It's not stiff as a board like break in half, although you could let them cook that long. I don't know why you would. So while those are finished and cooling down to where we can truly manhandle them, we're going to shred our chicken. So in our bowl, I've already got 1 breast shredded. I've got my other 3 here. Now, there are a few ways you can do this, and I've done 3 of them. One way is to get your hand mixer out, beat the chicken with it. That does work. I will warn you of this. Use a really big bowl and prepare for some of it to go flying. That's the only thing I'll say about it. It does work quickly. Or you can use a couple forks. Simply hold the chicken with one and use the other one to scrape the chicken apart with. That has served me well many times, when I'm feeling kind of like doing it. And there's my microwave in case you were wondering what's beeping. Or the third way, which is my favorite way, is just to get in here with your hands and break it apart. That to me seems to go the quickest. So I'm gonna go ahead and bake up these other 3 pieces and then we can move on. Okay, so we got all our chicken shredded. And in case you were wondering what was in the microwave beeping, it was spinach. It is one of our ingredients. We need 1 cup, around 1 cup of spinach. Now, the original recipe, I'm sorry, called for a half a cup. I'm using 1 cup because I doubled it. So you would need 2 chicken breasts, 4 baked potatoes, and a half a cup of spinach so far. Now, to do these potatoes, you're going to take them and you're going to cut them in half. See how you got the big side and the little side? Turn it on its little side and open her up. Alright, and we are going to cut this completely in half. A lot of twice baked potatoes, and you have this option with this, I would think. I'm just following the recipe that I got. You could have just slit that open, scooped it all out, and kept the potato whole. But this recipe had you halving them, and then we can pile it up as high as we want on top of it. So the next thing we need to do is we're going to take a spoon and we're going to just simply scrape out the inside of the potato, not going all the way to the edge. I'll show you here. Just 1 second. What I'm talking about, you want to make a boat, you know, so that way we have some place to, the skin will stay intact, and you can go pretty thin on these before they start to get weird, hands down. So let me get a little more off the side there. So that's what we're looking at right there. All right, so we want it to be scooped out just like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that to all these potatoes, and when I come back we can move on to the next step. Okay, so we got our potatoes all scooped out. I only had 1 casualty. I had a half of a potato that had a black spot in it that was like no other, and it just wasn't savable. So the next thing we're going to do, give these mashed potatoes here just a little head start in the mashing process, because somewhere around here, there it is, I have what will be 4 ounces of sour cream for the potatoes. When I leave the ingredients list down below, it'll be for the normal recipe. But just remember, if you want to do it like I did it, just double it. But 4 ounces of cream cheese, and this will be one of the handful of times that you probably want to make sure your cream cheese is at room temperature for cooking. And you can for sure use a hand mixer for this part. I'm just too lazy to get it out. This, oddly enough, this potato masher was sitting out this morning when I got up. Why? I don't know, but it was. So I'm gonna mash these two together. All right, so I got them probably not, they'd be almost whole mashed potatoes smooth. I'm sure there are some lumps and bumps in there with it. But the next thing we're gonna do is I have got about 2 cups of cheese here. Now you can use whole cheddar or whole Colby or whatever your favorite cheese is. I will never tell you to use a certain type of cheese. But it's about 2 cups there, maybe a heavy 2 cups. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put about half of it in here, mix that up. And I'm just using my hand. You can use a spoon. You can, I don't know if I'd continue to use the mixer, but you could. To get that in there, and then I've got about a cup's worth of spinach that I'm gonna throw in here. Now this is cooked. I heated it up in the microwave. It's frozen spinach. Now before you start judging me, it's from my garden. I don't like the taste of canned spinach. I never have. I prefer frozen or fresh, and when it came out of the garden this year, I just went ahead and froze it. I mean, we had a lot of spinach. And this would be a good way to get your kids or grandkids to eat their vegetables, because they probably won't notice it being in the potatoes. This is how my mom used to get us to eat sauerkraut before I learned that sauerkraut was a good thing. All right, so we got spinach in there. And then I'm gonna take the star of the show, the chicken, and we'll put it in there, and we'll get that all mixed in. Okay, so we got that all mixed up and in there. It actually looks quite delicious. Now, as far as spices go, I am not putting anything in this other than the Italian seasoning I put on the chicken when I baked it. But you feel free to put whatever seasonings you like in this. Because in the original recipe, I believe it called for just salt and pepper on the chicken, no more, no less. Because you were using he was using a rotisserie chicken in it. I am opting not to use rotisserie chicken. So I just put some Italian seasoning and some olive oil on the chicken. I put it in the oven and let it bake in the oven for 35-40 minutes until it was above 165 degrees. And then I let it cool and shredded it, right? So the next thing we got to do is we're going to go ahead and stuff our potatoes. If you turned your oven off, which is okay if you did, because you're letting everything cool, and I mean, granted, you have to warm it back up, but I get it. Kitchen can get hot pretty quick. You know, you want to make sure you're warming it back up to that 400 degrees. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our mix. Also, with this mix, it is thick. So if you want a thinner potato than what we have, you know, or a looser mashed potato, add about, I would start with like maybe just maybe a couple tablespoons of heavy cream or milk, or maybe a, you know, a good healthy dollop of sour cream, you know, to put in there also. Like I said, I'm trying to kind of follow the recipe that I found as close as possible, but I didn't want to have to go buy a rotisserie chicken when I had a chicken in there, and I didn't want to you know, go buy spinach and all that. I wanted to use what I had on hand, because that's what, you know, you should do. So anyhow, I'm gonna get these stuffed, and then we can do a couple more things and get them in the oven. Okay, we got them all stuffed, and I decided to make a last minute addition to this. I've got a roasted garlic dry rub here, and I've been using it a lot as of late. I'm not sure why, but it's really good. And I decided I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of this on each potato right quick. And like I said, this wasn't in the game plan, but it just sounded good, right? Do you guys ever get like a taste or a thought in your head when it comes to cooking that you just know feels right? It happens to me quite a bit. It's like I can see all the flavors in my head. Why I can see them, I don't know. And I can see that they're going to work well together. And maybe it's just because I've now been doing this long enough from scratch that I know how the flavors taste, so I can see it going together in my head. I don't know. But anyhow, last step before we go in the oven is to get just some more cheese on there. We're going to take the rest of our cheese, that last quarter to half, third of our cheese that we shredded, and we're going to put that on top here. So that way we can make it nice and ooey gooey. There we go. Got it all on there. We are in good shape. Now we just got to put this back in the oven. And wait. Just kidding. Well, I mean, we do have to wait, but not like forever, or, you know, days or something like that. So we're gonna go ahead, kick timer on. 15 minutes is what we're looking at, or until the cheese is melted and got maybe a golden brown look to it. Your degree of melted and golden brown, and then after that, I'll pull them out of the oven. I'll let them sit for a few minutes so they don't burn our face off, and then we can try one. All right, be right back. Okay, so I've got another plate out there at the table already. They were starving to death, but here we are. I think they turned out just looking fabulous. Cheese melted nicely. Didn't get quite as golden brown as I like it, but that's all right. Didn't have to let them sit as long as I thought we would, just because they weren't in the oven that long, so they just warmed up nicely. I probably could have left them in there a little longer, but that's all right. That's all right. So we This is going to be a heck of a meal, I think. I got some broccoli sitting on the table, and we just used just some regular old frozen broccoli, nothing fancy, nothing special. Is this the quickest weeknight meal in the world? No, probably not, but all in all, of course, nothing's ever fast the first time you make it. Now that I've made this, I mean, really, other than the potatoes, it went really quick. You know, but baking the potatoes first always takes time depending on how big the potato is and how you bake it. I did the traditional route in the oven. Now, I could have started them in the microwave, cut my time in half in the oven. I don't know if I'd have done it completely in the microwave. I think it would have made the skins just a little too wobbly. Kind of like if you boil a whole potato, the skin just peels right off. I think it would have done the same thing and not tasted quite right doing them completely in the microwave. But that being said, let's give this bad boy a try and see how we turned out. We'll make sure we get a little bit of everything in there. Yeah, heated up fairly nice. There's a little bit of steam broke out of there when I pulled that off. Excuse me. Very nice. Oh yeah. That's pretty good. Well, that's real good. Nothing wrong with that at all. The chicken is nice and tender, which I knew it was when I pulled it apart, which is awesome. Yeah, there's nothing lacking in that. I think the only change I would make to that would be to add a little more salt and pepper to the potatoes when we're putting it all together. It didn't call for it in the recipe, or I would have put more of the roasted garlic, dried roasted garlic. I would have put it in the potatoes and mixed it up. If you do that, and you do the 4 potatoes, the original recipe that I'm gonna put down below, I go with a teaspoon of dried garlic or whatever, you know, a teaspoon or 2. You know, put a teaspoon in, mix it in, try it. You know, take a little piece of potato and try it. If it works for it, and keep adding. You can do that with any seasoning that you desire, but I'm sure you guys already knew that because you guys are, like I always said, really smart and way smarter than I am. So you probably already made these like 5 times in the time it's taken me to tell you about it. So yeah, give these a try. Something real quick I was working on today. I had some extra corn tortilla shells that were just sitting up in the cabinet wasting away to nothing, and some oil that was on its last leg. So I made some corn chips. I love those corn chips. If you've never made homemade corn chips, I highly recommend it. They're super easy, quick to make, and as long as you filter the oil, you know, run it through a paper towel or something like that as you're putting it back. You can put it back in a mason jar or in the original container, and it'll hold for a while, a good while. Unless it smells bad, it's still good. Anyhow, give this a try. You won't be disappointed. It's a really good meal. You could serve this with some asparagus or some carrots or broccoli, as the case may be, another vegetable, a small salad. But this is definitely main meal material. Tomorrow, I have no idea what we're doing for dessert yet, but I'm sure something will come around. It always does. It amazes me how much food stuff comes up on my feed, my Google feed through my phone and even on my laptop, which I'll take because I'm always looking for new stuff. Anybody that thinks it's easy to find 52 dinner recipes a year, 52 dessert recipes a year, and continue to do it for years, if you think that's easy, it's not. It's not hard, but it's not easy. And but anyhow, I'll figure it out. I got a handful of thoughts going through my head as we speak. If you did not try those cookies last week, oh my gosh, you were missing out. Go watch the video. It's not even 15 minutes long. Well, it might be 15 minutes long. Well worth the watch. So let me know down in the comments below or over on Facebook or Instagram what you think of these, or if you make something similar to it, let me know. You can check out my other twice baked potato recipe, the shepherd's pie one. That's a really good one also. And until tomorrow for dessert, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them and that you love them very much. They may need to hear it. It's going to make them smile either way it goes. It's going to make you feel good inside. Probably smile too. You invite them over for some of these potatoes, these twice baked chicken and cheese potatoes. That's going to lead to conversation, and they're going to have a full belly with a good meal that you made from scratch with love. And that's important, you know, and it's going to lead to conversation too. So till tomorrow for dessert, I love you, and I'll see you then. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.